And as I said, welcome to our April team meeting. I hope you're staying warm and dry today because we all know what April showers bring. It brings bathing suit weather. That's what it brings, and lots of fun stuff. So let's get started here. Very good. Yes, we do have lots of great things. Special guest, as I just mentioned, Bita Lisi is here, and she's going to talk to us about managing our properties with tenants and going to sell them, and managing our landlords and how best to set that up for a win-win and make sure that happens as smoothly as possible. So she's going to come talk to us real quick about the session that she's hosting in May. And of course, we have a big Ignite launch that we're doing on May 4th. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And of course, if you haven't seen the new video series with Dylan Silbernagel and Mike Russo, the tech-enabled agents. And Dylan's going to be talking to us what that means and how it's going to support us as agents to make our lives easier, because that's really what we're looking for. So thanks to Dylan for that. Of course, top award winners, our mortgage update, and some of the stress test and rumors and perhaps a little bit of myth busting with Cherity. So excited about that. And of course, as always, our broker bits, and with Christine Tonos, our broker of record, and industry stats with Marvin. And there's some really cool things that we're going to highlight this month that our agents are achieving some amazing things. So we're excited to do that. First and foremost, though, obviously it's a welcome to everybody that's here, but a welcome to our new KWRC associates. Quite a list of names here. Saba, Dwight, Elena, Terrace, Natalie, Kathy, another Natalie, Raheem, Michael, Jackson, and Yulia. A very special welcome to you. And we host these monthly team meetings every month. We look forward to seeing you. And of course, we look forward to seeing everyone in person when we can. And this is exciting times for our brokers as we continue to grow. Bita, I'm gonna invite you on the screen in just a second here, so make sure you're ready. As I said, Bita is here to talk to us about the webinar that she's going to be hosting on May 19th here, as you can see. And many of you know I own properties, which means I have some amazing tenants, and I've experienced not so amazing tenants, just as it happens, right? And that's one of the perks of owning investment properties, being able to create wealth through that, but also being able to manage our tenants is, sometimes personally, we're not cut out for it, and we have to lean on the experts in the field, and Bita is certainly one of them. As I mentioned in the video that went out, we were introduced by Michelle Terzis, and one of her clients was able to use Bita in negotiations, if you will, to help create a vacant property and such. And Bita, pleasure to have you here. And when we talked on the phone the other day, I said I've known you for a long time, but we hadn't actually met. And we had a nice conversation. Her husband and I go way back. We have done some real estate courses together, so it was nice to meet the better half of Rob, your husband. But pleasure's ours. Happy to have you here. And I'm going to hand the floor over to you and help allow you to explain what we're in store for on the 19th.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gary. I'm really excited for this presentation on the 19th. As many of you know, everyone has been affected by COVID, landlords, tenants, investors, realtors, everyone. COVID has really hit hard. Everyone's the entire world. Some businesses have thrived due to COVID, and some haven't. Unfortunately, when you're a landlord, or whenever you own properties for the purpose of renting, for rental income, you own it you own a business. I always say that you own a business, you have to treat it like a business, meaning that sometimes you're going to have tenants that are not very good tenants. Sometimes you're going to have really great tenants. Our industry has boomed tenfold because of tenants who are providing challenges to realtors and landlords by, holding the property hostage, not allowing for showings, or not moving when they're supposed to move, delaying closings. So on May 19th, that's exactly what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about how to list and sell tenanted properties during COVID. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the notice, the N12 notice for the new purchaser, and the popular topic, cash for keys, which is often the more effective route due to the extensive board delays. So I'm happy to come on May 19th at 1:00 and go through this presentation, and we can hold a Q&A in the end, at the end of the presentation, and you can feel free to ask me any questions that you have regarding landlord and tenant matters. How was that, Gary?
That was fantastic. Two things. I love the big poster behind you. That's
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. And so your specialty is obviously, you're paralegal working with landlords to help manage the tenant communications and so forth. And tell us a little bit about, real quick, if you can, some of the other services that you provide as a paralegal and how you're supporting agents and landlords.
Absolutely. So my background, as Larry mentioned, it lies in real estate. So I obtained my license back in 2004, 2005. And during the course of my being a realtor, I had acquired landlord and investor clients who had purchased small to medium-sized apartment buildings and commercial plazas, and they didn't really want to, or they didn't really know how to tend to the day-to-day operations. So, like every other realtor, I offered a service, a property management service, to manage these properties. And more often than not, I would be going to the landlord and tenant board, to represent my landlords on non-payment of rent matters, maintenance and repair issues, basically everything under the stars that had to do with dealing with tenants. And 9 times out of 10, because the board is not very realtor or property manager friendly, my matters would get dismissed because I was not a licensed paralegal or a lawyer. So because I love school so much, I went back to school to obtain my paralegal license again, so I can provide a better service to my clients. And my business just shifted. I felt that majority of real estate brokerages or broker of records or managers, they were approaching me and asking me to hold training seminars for their agents, because there was not a paralegal out there who specifically specialized with landlord and tenant matters. There are other legal reps that do 2 or 3 different types of laws, but not specifically someone with a real estate background. So as unfortunate as it is, and how much I love the real estate industry, I did not have time for real estate anymore. And our law firm is geared to provide support to realtors and brokerages with respect to handling their landlord and tenancy matters. So that's what we do. That's what my background lies in. And we're here to provide support to you guys for your properties and your clients' properties.
That's fantastic. And that just, sheds a little bit of light into Bita's world and the experience that she brings to the table. And so you'll start to see the emails and the reminders about the webinar session that she has on the 19th. I'll be there for sure. Owning investment properties, it's always good to educate yourself in these different matters. And of course, align yourself with the experts. So thanks for hosting this, Bita. We're looking forward to your session. And I apologize. I should have your contact info on here. So real quick, if people wanted to reach out to you, how would they do that?
They can check out our website, stonegatelegalservices.ca. Our contact info is there. Our email is info@stonegatelegalservices.ca. Do you want me to put our website in the chat?
That would be fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you for attending today and giving us that high level view of what we're anticipating for the 19th. And be sure to sign up for that, because that's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to move on, and the next the save the date, as you can see here, Red Day happens every year. Really, really excited about it. May 13th. And I've got my shirt here, Red Day shirt. And this is a lot of fun to take part in. And of course, Red Day is an annual event where we at Keller Willams worldwide get to give back to our community. And last year, we just like everyone has, we had to pivot and do things a little bit differently. If you recall, we hosted an online telethon, and we raised, I think it was just over $6,600. So we're looking to achieve that again. And just sit back and watch this little video that we have here. So yes, that's May 13th, and watch out over the next coming days. The social media graphics will be sent out, and where you can invite your clients to participate in the different workshops throughout the day, and look for all that information coming soon. Last year, I should mention that the money that was donated went to, I believe it was 4 of the local food banks where we have our offices, so they got to benefit from that and benefit from your generosity and your clients' generosity. So really excited about this year's Red Day. Moving on, signs of excellence. So here's something that's really, really cool. The great thing about moving on in the months of the year is we get to analyze and look back at our first quarter results. And I got to tell you, looking back at what you, our agents, have been able to accomplish, we've shared this before from a broker's standpoint, and I thought it'd be really cool to highlight some key individuals here that have increase their business year over year, and with absolutely tremendous results. And that virtual high five, if you will, goes out to them. But even better, I thought it would be fantastic to publicly acknowledge some of these amazing achievements. So year over year increase, first quarter of 2021 versus 2020 first quarter. And this is based on contracts closed. And this is amazing, because this is where we start, and we've got 10 individuals here, and this is the number that we start at. Andrew Bolton increased his closed contracts by 266% year over year. So that's the bar. That's where we're starting, and look where we're going here. This is fantastic. Bree Honey increased 300%. Stevie Susie, 300%. Melissa Taylor, 300% increase. Increase. Susan Pierce, 350. Stuart Madden, 366% increase. Christine Frigo, 500% increase. This is fantastic. Paul Ireland, 700% increase year over year. And Dylan Silbernagel, 1,081.8% increase. This is absolutely fantastic. So these are closed contracts. And if you look at this list here, and I'm sure as you're all kind of putting it together, these are already some of our top producers building and stepping up their game. So fantastic. And of course, congratulations to you. Kirby Chan, oh my gosh, I forgot Kirby Chan leading it with 1,300%. I thought we were done, but no, Kirby, unbelievable. I love seeing this type of stuff. Fantastic. Okay, moving on. The next list that we have here is contracts written. So these are the contracts, obviously, that you wrote between January and the end of March. And of course, some of these may have already closed or they are about to close. And this is still fantastic news. Brian Sametz at 281%. Riley Alcorn at almost 300%. You missed out by 2.2 tenths. 300% by MJ. 311%. Vincent Bongard, Melissa Taylor, 385% increase. Stuart Madden, 458. Anna Lesperance, 500% increase. Gail Hurst, 600% increase. Susan Pierce at 670% increase. And Angela Beatty, I love it, 950% increase in closed contracts written. This is amazing. Congrats to everybody on this, because as we know, the business that you write today shows up tomorrow. And I think more importantly, we can all agree is this is the momentum that just drives your business and lifts the bar and lifts everyone else around you. So congrats on such an amazing start to the year. And we're seeing that, from a broker standpoint too, but important to highlight these key individuals. Actually, I have a note here, and it's important that I say this because, Marvin, this is pretty amazing. We're highlighting, agents. Brian Sametz is at the bottom of this list, but still at 281%, which is mind blowing. Here's something really cool. 74 of our agents increase it 100% or more.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I have goosebumps from that. That is so phenomenal. Isn't that amazing?
It is fantastic. It is fantastic. This is, it's an exciting time to be in real estate because it is so different than what we've been used to. And I can, the people on this list and many others are adapting well, moving fast, and also creating, and I think this is the really important piece, creating new opportunities where they're seeing a way to support their agents. And that's the most important piece here.
Yeah. And you know what, Gary, and we have to remember too, this is an increase in the first quarter over the best year in real estate history and of our brokerage, which was last year. So that even compounds the accomplishments even further. So to have 70 odd agents at 100% increase over last year's business, which was for most people their best year, and certainly for our company, I mean, that's quite commendable. It's amazing.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Moving on. So here, I'm not sure if Wayne's with us. He texted me to say he got held up somewhere and it's unfortunate he can't be with us. However, this is really, really exciting. And if you want to be one of those top agents increasing your business year over year, Ignite is an amazing place to start. And as you might recall, over the last year, we changed on how we delivered Ignite to more of a regional aspect where we leveraged the top trainers from other brokerages and delivered a very high level Ignite experience, albeit, virtual. And now what we've done is combined our efforts with Keller Willams Canada, and we've taken this nationwide. So here's some really, really cool things is we have 5 of the top trainers that I like to think teaching Ignite. And you can see them here. And of course, excuse me, Wayne Clements is one of them, and we're very honored to have Wayne represent KWRC in this manner. And the excuse me, the trainers in this list are absolutely fantastic. Not only are they top producers, but they're people that know how to, educate, train, lead, and they're going to be speaking from experience on how they built their business. And you're not going to want to miss this if you're looking to build your business. This, as I said, it's nationwide. Wayne Clements, of course, is one of them. Chris Fusco, who just joined us as a new KW agent, but has tremendous amount of experience in the industry and tremendous amount of background in training and educating agents. Fantastic resource with Chris there. George Palos, here's a true Ignite story. In the first year, he did a few transactions. And then in the second, third, and fourth year, he's been doing, over 40 transactions a year by using the fundamentals that he learned in Ignite. Marie Fachon is an amazing, experienced agent out of the Montreal area with a tremendous amount of commercial background. She's been in real estate for over 40 years, which, experience is one of her main assets. And of course, just being able to see the industry from a different light and being able to help our Ignite students that way. Jerry, in the bottom right-hand corner, Van Leeuwen. I met Jerry about a year ago, and you know when you meet somebody, you just know that is a person on a mission, and they're going to be doing some amazing things. Jerry's one of those types of agents that just, as we said earlier, sees opportunity and seizes it and creates an amazing opportunity for others. He's a great trainer as well. So if you're, as I said, you're looking to increase your business, and we know there's stats out there that 27% of the agents that take Ignite are more likely, 27% are, you're 27% more likely to do a transaction if you take Ignite within the first few weeks of it. And it is a fantastic program where you're going to learn the fundamentals of building your business, everything from, how to generate leads, how to convert those leads into clients, and more appropriate or more direct to the point is how to create an amazing experience for that client, whether it's on the buy side or on the sell side. You're going to learn listing presentations from these top realtors, buyers tactics, and so on. So this starts on May 4th. And runs through, I got my note here, runs through to June 3rd, and lots of tremendous opportunities for you to meet. This is the best thing, I think, about doing it bigger than just our brokers, is you get to meet great agents from, locally here in Toronto, down into the Waterloo-Kitchener area, maybe out in Vancouver or out on the East Coast, because we always seem to have clients that are looking to move from one province to another, and this is a great way to meet other agents, like-minded agents that you can connect and create referral partners with too. So be sure to sign up, contact me, Wayne or Jen Silbernagel. They can certainly get you connected and registered into the program. It's going to be running from 11:30 to 2:30, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. So excited about that. Dylan Silbernagel, I'm going to get you prepped and ready to come on with the tech-enabled agent. And this is, Dylan and I were chatting not too long ago, and he was asking, there's got to be some ways that we can support the brokerage and different training and so forth. So Dylan, are you with us here?
Yeah, I'm here, Gary.
Fantastic. I'm going to hand it over to you, and then you lead us here on what you and Mike Russo are doing with the tech-enabled agent.
Perfect. So I want to start just by saying, I'm not in this alone. It's definitely me and Mike working on this together. Mike is our tech ambassador for the office, and I'm our tech ALC chair. And so the two of us kind of created this initiative to help give back to our agents with the goal of helping us get in contact with more clients, better serve the ones that we have, and ultimately just grow our business through tech. And kind of what I left out there was get more time back for us and our families, because tech is a great way to provide that as well. And I think if all of you think back to even just how we've started to incorporate Zoom into our businesses, that saves me all my drive time. So I had a consult last night, and all I had to do was turn on my Zoom, do my presentation, and then I was back with my family afterwards. So tech is amazing for the things that it can provide for us. And that's what me and Mike are starting up with. And so our first video, I don't know if you guys saw it yet, was looking at Command versus Facebook in terms of social media paid advertising. We had been toying around with that idea for a while, which is the better platform to actually run our ads on. And, we ran the test, and I encourage you to watch the video, but ultimately we have such an amazing platform with Command and the tech that our KW International and our office provides us already. And sure enough, it outperformed our Facebook ads almost double, actually. And Mike was able to book a client from it. He signed him up on a buyer rep and was working on offers just last week.
I love that video. If you haven't had the chance to watch that video, I urge you to watch it, because it really, what Mike and Dylan have done is, they created two side-by-side ads, as Dylan said, and ran them on two different platforms, one through Facebook, one through Command. And I always knew that we had a great relationship through KW Command and Facebook, but seeing the way you guys did it and seeing the results, I'd never seen it done like that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely put my mind at ease, because we'd been toying around just kind of doing them on our own, but we never ran a side-by-side comparison like that before. It went really well. Mike was the lucky one that got to use Command and get all the extra impressions. So We're going to keep at it. We've already done our second video where we're diving into Mojo Dialer because we've had a couple people reach out and ask about that as a platform. And we've got a long list of stuff coming forward. It's all about finding ways that tech can help our business. I know tech sometimes can be a stress point for agents. You can get a little anxious around it, like either not knowing how to use it or being concerned that you're being left behind, that you don't have the newest stuff that's out there that other agents are using. And we're here to kind of help you cut through the weeds of that and just use what's important to really grow your business and also get some of your time back.
Yeah, and that's so important. Get some of your time back and leverage that out. One of the neat things here, Dylan, is when I watch that video, we often talk about investing our marketing dollars into, online ads and what have you. And we often think that we have to do it on a big scale, hundreds and thousands of dollars per ad. And you guys remind everybody what your budget was. Yours was a little bit different than Mike's, but what was it? Absolutely.
So I spent $45 on my ad. We ran them for the same time frame. I spent $45. Mike spent $12. And his cost, we ended up with about the same leads. I think I was 14 and he was 12, or vice versa. And his cost per lead was 86 cents through command, where mine was like $3.86 or $3.50. So again, we all run our own businesses here. Where do you want to spend your money?
Yeah, that's a great point. And he basically did the exact same that you did on a $12, we'll call it a shoestring budget, but I call that a smart budget, right? And understanding where your dollars go and making them accountable. That was amazing. And I love the video series that you guys have envisioned and talked about doing, and now you're putting it into place. And with all the great stuff that's coming, I'm excited to see where this goes and how you're going to support our agents. Thanks to Mike and Dylan for doing these.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on here. We look forward to bringing more videos for everyone.
Fantastic. Okay, moving on. KWRC, of course, as always, we like to highlight our individuals and teams that have fantastic months. First, we like to highlight KW firsts, though. And this is always fun because we always remember our first. So here's our two agents that had their first closings, Haley MacArthur and Tammy Andrakos. Congratulations to you. And first listings is always a great one. Ed Chowdhury, Jane Derricks, Jason Singh, and Maddie Ireland. A huge congratulations to you. And we look forward to seeing your names up here many, many more times. Here's our agents for top 10 individuals for closed units in the month of March. Kirby Chan, of course, and Andrew Bolton, Wayne Clements, Michelle Terzis, Stuart Madden, Frank Raheny, Wasim Jara, Paul Ireland, Brian Sametz, and yes, we had 17 people tied for 10th. I don't know if I had a slide big enough or make the font small enough, but congratulations to everybody for a fantastic month in March for sure. So that was closed units. Written business. This is the top 10 for written business for individuals. Of course, you see here Stuart Madden, Paul Ireland, Wasim Jara, Kirby Chan, Marion Carconi, Wayne Clements, Vincent Bongard, Andrew Bolton, Ben Serlin, Ryan Wood. Congratulations to you. And what I love here, and congrats to Ben and others that get to, get on the list here, because I love seeing new names pop up here. It certainly raises the bar of everyone around them. Congrats to you. For our teams and groups, this is closed units. Terry Hastings, the Pair-Off team, Melissa Taylor team, Volpe Alcorn team, the Silbernagel team, and the Campbell team. Congratulations to you guys and your teams. Written business. Okay, I got a note here, and I'm going to come back to my note. Terry Hastings team, congratulations to you. Volpe Alcorn team, the Pair-Off team, Blaha Booten team, the Silbernagel team, and the Michael Tuff team. That was for written business in the month of March, and that's what we love to see, because that's business, as I've said earlier, closing in the next few months. Here's something really cool for everyone to kind of chew on, especially the Volpe Alcorn team and the Hastings team, our top two teams for this month. Volpe Alcorn, Michael and Riley and team, you closed 20.6 units wrote 20.6 units in the month of March. Terry Hastings team, here's the difference, 23. So 2.5 ends there is the difference. That's normally it's not quite that close, but that is fantastic. So little push there, Riley and Michael and team. They're coming for you, Terry. Keep pushing it. That's a lot of fun though. And I get to pull the stats like that and see how close it is sometimes. Very good. Well, congratulations to everyone on such a great month of writing business in March. And of course, we're seeing that trend into the month of April. And I can tell you that business is moving. I know you're feeling it, whether you're working on the buyer or seller side. It is still a fast moving market, albeit different than when it was in January, February. But historically, it's still a fast moving market. And we got to continue to keep educating our clients. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, of course, when Marvin comes on to talk about the industry stats. I'm going to invite Cherity, if she's on with us, to come on and unmute her microphone here and talk about the mortgage and what's going on with the mortgage update and the rumors around the stress test and so forth. And because there is a lot going on, and sometimes there's information that gets out there and it gets twisted and so forth. And it's important that we stay up to date with what's going on. Cherity, are you with us?
I am with you. Can you hear me and see me?
Absolutely. So Cherity, it's a pleasure to have you as always. And here we go. Here now, everyone can see you. Give us the quick high-level view, and then we'll get into some of the more specific questions about what the pending stress test means and what does it mean to our clients. And I'll leave it at that before I get too deep on it. Just kind of give us that quick high-level view of what that looks like.
Sure. So right now, tentatively speaking, they're looking at doing an increase to the uninsured stress test. So uninsured means any mortgage that has a down payment of more than 20%. Currently, the stress test right now is at 479 for the insured mortgages and the uninsured. So the stress test number is the percentage in which we're trying to qualify the buyers at, regardless of the contract rate or the rate that we get them. They're proposing now that effective June 1st, that the rate would be risen to 5.25 or contract rate plus 2. So for simplicity, I'm going to stick with the 525. And if anyone wants me to get into the formulas deeper, I can do that. But basically, they're looking at a 0.46% increase in the stress test. So basically, 0.5% higher than it is now for our uninsured borrowers to qualify at. Now, this isn't a definite yet. The public does have until May 7th to address OFC, which is the superintendent of our financial services, to state their concerns or their opinions of it. They are taking feedback until the 7th. On May 24th, they will be announcing what they decided. And again, usually when these conversations come up ahead of time, what they're talking about usually does happen, which is why we're all busy preparing for it to happen. And if whatever they release on May 24th, it will become effective June 1st.
June 1st. Okay. So give us, I guess, a simple question, but probably not a simple answer.
Okay.
Is why? Why would they be looking to do something like this?
Yeah, well, there's a couple reasons that they're saying why. And of course, there's arguments on both sides as to whether the why is legitimate or not. The main why that they're saying is that they're trying to prepare people that are getting into these mortgages now to be able to afford these mortgages as they come up for renewal, because the rates are so low right now that they're actually saying that they're not realistic rates. So in preparation for rates to continue to rise and to go up to where pre-pandemic rates were, as well as we have some renewals that are going to be coming up that are entering into these rates that, again, we've never seen rates as low as they are now. And the other why they're saying is obviously, to help cool the housing market and to slow it down.
Right. And are you seeing an increase of mortgage applications at the moment? Because do you think this has something to do with it, or is it just more along the lines of that's the market and it's our spring market? Or are you seeing some new refinances coming in that you didn't expect, things like that?
I am getting a lot of stir in the business, a lot of questions, a lot of people. The caveat is for people that if they are trying to qualify, if that difference does affect you, that if we do have a written commitment before June 1st, that we can honor the old rules. So people that were already pre-approved and it was so tight at the 479, they are actively trying. Again, we do have some challenges in the market now, but they are trying to secure the real estate as well as get the commitments, because if we have it signed and committed, then we can still, it can close later, August, September, but it has to be signed before the June 1st date.
Right. Okay. That's good to know, actually. Incredibly good to know. And are the banks getting creative or adding some more products for you to, for borrowers to use? Are they adjusting what that product or what those mortgage opportunities are at the moment?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So there are some exceptions and things being made in the market, given that the costs are rising. They are allowing us, for example, because a lot of people's income were impacted in 2020 due to the pandemic. They're allowing us things such as a 3-year average in income. So if a client has had a huge hit, we're able to go back and look at the 2018, 2019 income to help bring it up. They're kind of eliminating that. In saying that, some of the lenders, they will stretch ratios for us if we have a good story, and of course, working with brokers, we're really good at those. So we are still able to kind of stretch these limits, but within saying that, given the housing market and the costs, I mean, there's only so much that we can do.
Yeah, you brought something up that was interesting, and I hadn't thought of, is the fact that lenders are looking at income. And correct me if I'm wrong here. Usually, it was the average over 2 years, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Extending that to 3. That's a point that I wanted to really highlight, because that's really, really important to some of our clients that, as you mentioned, perhaps didn't have the income that they did last year.
For sure. So it is definitely, a lot of them like recently have come out and released that, saying that they're seeing that this is a problem and that they're offering that as a solution, which has been a solution in some deals that have come across my desk.
Yeah. And this is what always kind of makes me smile about the lending industry. Not you, Cherity, but the lending industry is, you have OSFI creating some stricter guidelines or putting guidelines in place, which is, on one hand, never a bad thing in a sense, because we are often looked at one of the leading financial nations of the world that has it really, what's the word? What's the phrase I'm looking for? We have control over it. That's the phrase that I'm looking for. But then you have, on the other hand, you have banks still, banks still like to lend money out because that's how they make money. And they will continue to still be somewhat creative on how they, provide borrowers with their lending. So, you kind of have two different industries or two different leaders of the industry kind of working alongside of each other and creating great opportunities for each other.
For sure.
Now, what are you seeing right now as we kind of wrap this section up? What are you seeing right now with some of the banks? Are they pushing? How fast are deals getting approved? That's always what an agent wants to know, right?
I know. So when you say the banks are moving slow. So when we talk about our big banks, unfortunately, due to, I guess, the market and the demands, the servicing in the banks are actually slow through the broker channel, and as well as feedback I'm getting from my clients that maybe aren't happy with their banks, where I've been able to convert over to the broker side. But our mono lenders are really working hard at trying to meet the demands and understanding that, there's very tight conditions of financing, a lot of time no condition of financing, which just creates anxiety, which means clients want answers now. So they're really trying really hard. A lot of our mono lenders have hired new staff. A couple months ago it was slower, and they've caught up now. They have new staff, they have new departments, and they're working faster. So the turnaround speeds are, I don't want to say returning to what they were, but they most certainly have picked up the pace and are able to keep up with the demands of my business. Again, I always reach out to my lenders and say, well, I work with realtors, and realtors are really pushy and they need to know answers now. So they're like, I get it, Cherity. So when you're a broker like me that kind of says that to them, they work really hard at trying to help me service the realtors and get that paperwork turned around and back and these approvals out to our clients as fast as we can.
Right. And as fast as they can, are we looking at 10 business days, 20 business days, shorter? Because we would always love shorter, but what does that look like?
Right. So 10 business days is exactly kind of where the banks are. So, I do broker for TD, Scotia, those types of banks. They're saying about 7 to 10 days, but we're kind of hovering in and around there. And our mono lenders are doing really good. I would say that, and I don't want to overshoot here, but I would say a 48-hour turnaround is that's pretty much what I'm able to get at this moment. If the deal is a little bit complex, maybe, 3 to 4 days, but I don't know if I'm just really lucky, but, pretty fast still. I would say 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, no, that's great. And one of these things too is incredibly important as we're working with buyers is don't allow the conversation with Cherity or the mortgage broker to be one of the last conversations that you have before you go shopping. Right?
Absolutely.
Have that early on in the conversation, because Cherity and her team, they will not only will they coach alongside of the client, but they'll see different opportunities that perhaps the client didn't see before, whether it's, freeing up some money on a refinance or what have you, Cherity. How important is that conversation for you and your team to have that conversation sooner than later?
Well, it's so important, especially given the times like that we're talking about, where if they're only having one opinion, given from their bank, the different opportunities and the amount of money, the borrowing amount that we can get them tends to be very different. So if you're trying to take your client out and you're trying to compete in the market with as demanding as it is, and the prices that we're dealing with, we need the highest approvals possible. And with that, until you're in a mess when you're writing offers and you're sitting at the table, it's not the time to call me, because I can coach the clients through and possibly get them a much bigger pre-approval before they get into these situations. So right when you meet the client, I always say is the best time to try to have the conversation about working together with a broker and the realtor.
Yeah, fantastic. Always great stuff, Cherity. Really appreciate your leadership in this segment for us, because it's obviously without the lending, we don't have a lot of buying to do, right? So,
that's right.
And of course, your contact info is on the screen. And just remind everybody in your closing remarks here who you have on your team and how they're here to support us.
Yeah, exactly. So my team consists of myself, which is Cherity, and we have Haley, and we have Fong, and also Miranda, who's not with us today, but there's a team of 4 of us, and we all work together. We have great systems in place to have the speed and the turnover that you need. And if one of us isn't available, there's always someone else here to be available, and the messages tell you who to forward it to. So you'll always be able to reach one of us.
Fantastic. As always, Cherity, thank you so much. And do reach out to her and her team, because it can make the whole transaction so much smoother when you have a great teammate on your team. So thanks again, Cherity. Really
wonderful. Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone.
Fantastic. That's great news. And it's always important to stay up to date with what's going on in the mortgage industry, and making sure that you are providing the right information to your clients. And if you don't have the right information, you know who to reach out to now. Reach out to Cherity and her team for sure. Fantastic. Okay, this is one of our favorite segments with Christine Tonis and Broker Bits. Christine, I'm going to invite you on screen here, and there we have it, and pass it all over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is exciting. There's lots of news to relate to you, and some things I just want to go over as a reminder. Gary? Okay, so interesting that Bita talked a little bit about rentals. This has come up an awful lot lately for a variety of reasons. So, back to the question, can you insure vacant possession? You can't insure it. But certainly having someone like Bita on your team to put the procedures in place is going to help your landlord. And can tenants be evicted? It's become much, much more difficult. So what you want to also take away from that is the opposite thing has happened now. So it's very difficult to get a rental unit for your tenants. Very difficult. And you're going to have to put some things in play that you maybe hadn't thought of before. It's competitive out there. So you may want to do a letter for your tenants showing their quality. You may want to offer higher deposits, like several months more rent. up front. What you really want to do is address the fears of the landlord. They are very afraid that someone's going to move in and not pay rent. So knowing that up front, you have to front load your offers with as many fear removers as you can. So higher deposits is definitely a good way to do that. When you're doing a higher deposit, I want to caution you. So when we talk a higher deposit, we might talk 3, 4, 5 months extra rent up front. Make sure that that check is payable to the listing brokerage, not to the landlord. Because with the listing brokerage, we have RICO behind us. We have things to make sure that that money ends up in the right hands at the right time and after closing. So make sure you do that. If you have, for instance, a client who has recently sold their home and you're trying to sell your client to the landlord to show that they're viable, they're trustworthy, they're going to take care of their, one of their larger investments. If they've recently sold a home, send the pictures, send the listing, sell your client, just like you would when you were doing an offer for a sale. You really want to make sure that you address their fears and take those out of the way. And one of the most important things is that you contact a paralegal. I'm really glad that Bita was on today. Gary, could you go to the next slide? So keys for cash, you may not have heard that term. You may be very familiar with it, but fundamentally what it is the landlord or the seller is paying a tenant to leave. So well beyond what is normal. So we recently had an incident where the tenant was, to say the least, brutal, and the landlord and the seller as well ended up paying the tenant $23,000 to leave, in addition to the 5 months back rent they didn't pay. Now, that's a great strategy. I get that. It's an expensive strategy, but here's the thing. Don't be the one telling the landlord and the seller how to do it or what to do. And here's why. You never want it to come back on you that, oh, I didn't have to pay them that much. You made me give away money. When you have someone like Bita on your side who can actually direct them, give them professional advice, it's the same way we don't give advice on structure of a property or mortgages. We're not the experts in that. So if you come across a difficult tenant or you want to, help your landlord, your seller deal with them, do it via a paralegal. You can help them negotiate it after, but you want that initial advice to come from the paralegal. I'm just reading notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. That's great, thank you. Just a recent thing that has come out, now we're starting to see some shifts away from being a heavily seller's market to, in favor of buyers. And this has come out recently that really is a buyer's guide for condominiums. So it goes through 3 freehold and the regular condo and the poddles. And it's a great resource to have to send to your clients so that they know you're on the ball. It's newly done on November the 6th. We've uploaded it to mykwrc.ca under the broker tab. You'll find that in additional forms. So don't, feel free to download it. Certainly put your brand on it. That's always a nice touch when you send that out. Thanks, Gary. Okay, so FinTrack, one of our not favorite topics. FinTrack and the FinTrack compliance is critical, and it's expensive if you get it wrong. They find some of the heaviest fines I've ever seen, and they're recently cracking down even further. KWRC launched and has paid for a compliance program free to our realtors. And I want you to make use of that. So it's a super easy method. It involves like snapping a picture, their driver's license or QR code. So Gary, if you could just play that video.
Are you taking pictures of your clients' IDs and checks to fill out your FinTrack forms later? Is your compliance officer chasing you for submissions? Are you tired of manually filling FinTrack forms? Stop! FinTracker is a professional and efficient approach to FinTrack reporting. Simply scan the barcodes on your client's ID, extracting only the info required to complete your submissions. No errors, no paper, no fines. FinTracker offers many features such as scan and save for later, search previous submissions for reuse, PDF upload option, and many more. Get back to building relationships and growing your business, and let FinTracker handle your FinTrack reporting. Your office will thank you for it. FinTracker, compliance made easy. Download it now on the app stores and start your free trial today. Or visit our website at fintracker.ca.
So if you could go to the next slide, Gary. Thank you. So before you actually download it, use that QR code. It tells you how to download it for free because KWRC has already paid for that. So it will be free to you. When it gives you an option to send the documentation in, you can send it directly to command admin at kwrealtycenters.com. Or you can send it to the front desk and they can help you upload it. But you might as well just make this super easy on yourself. If you can take a minute and just take out your phones and take a snapshot of the QR code, that will lead you to the system for downloading it. So I'll just leave that up for a quick second. Of course, I can't see anybody lifting up their phone, so I don't know if you've done it. But don't forget that all these videos are on our website. So you can always go back and re-see any of the videos that we've made from team meetings. If you can go on to the next slide. Okay, so blast from the past. So, a lot of you know that Wayne has been recently acknowledged as an Ignite trainer and one of the top trainers in the country. Wayne has also been the cultural ambassador for Keller Willams Canada at our family reunion events. But we have, if you haven't been here pre-COVID and maybe not before 2014, we used to have, we've been restricted by COVID. We've still delivered great content. But, we used to have in-person team meetings that were catered. We had amazing golf events, wild and crazy Christmas parties, all themed. The KW family is really important. So this is, on the next slide, you will see a video containing some of our favorite realtors, Tana Reed, Paul Hendricks, Marianne Baldessera, Bree Honey, and Sean Herbertson. So if you want to switch to the next slide, this is from our Christmas party 2014. That was a little flash mob we put together for the Christmas party. Managed to keep it a secret for months. And if you could go on to the next slide, please, Gary.
Wait, I just want to make sure I saw what I saw. That was Wayne Clements with a full head of hair, right? That's what
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Making sure.
It was real estate that affected him after that.
Oh, that's what's happening to me. Okay, I gotcha. Good.
Okay, so I'm going to be absent starting May 12th. I'm having some surgery and on to approximately June 20th. The broker hotline, as you know, is amazing, and they are going to step in and be answering calls during that time period. Any mutual releases, please send it electronically to Andrew at andrewbolton.ca. Make sure when you're sending him a mutual release, because sometimes he's on the road, that you include page 1, page 5 of the agreement to purchase sale, and a copy of the deposit so he can immediately release those funds. And also, as a matter of protocol, if we're holding the funds, we want to be the last people to sign. So your buyers, the sellers, the other brokerage, we are the last when we are holding the funds. When someone else is holding the funds, it would be your client, the buyer, and then us. Thanks, Gary. So next team meeting is going to be hosted by those wonderful people who host the broker hotline. Next slide. So Marvin Alexander, Andrew Bolton, Colin Campbell, Wayne Clements, and Michael Tuff are going to be doing broker bets for you. So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you when I get back.
Thank you, Christine, as always.
My pleasure.
We'll miss you, Christine.
I'll be around in spirit.
All right. Well, this is the time that we get to invite Marvin onto the screen and talk about the market stats and what's going on in the industry and how he sees it and so forth. Marvin, how you doing?
I am a gangster realtor, dude. I couldn't be any better. That was such a cool thing, Christine, that you just did, to think back on that. And you made a great point. You know, like, we really are a high connectivity, high touch brokerage. You know, team meetings that are like little Italian weddings that are catered, and, like you said, off the hook golf tournaments and all kinds of things. And that's coming back. I promise everyone that. You know, we're going to get back to that. And that just, you know, makes it so much more fun and really adds to, camaraderie, and actually it enhances everyone's experience all around, including their business experience, right? They end up forging relationships with people in the company, and it makes the whole process of real estate that much better. So it is what makes us different. Unfortunately, we're in very unprecedented times, but it is getting better. And I can tell you, we're going to throw one hell of a party when this is all over. That's for sure. Anyhow, let's take a look at the stats. They're so exciting. Let's take a look. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to hand out those t-shirts, Shalina, no problem. Okay. This is all of the Toronto Real Estate Board sold versus asked. And once again, this is all year up to and including March 2021. We are first. So we are averaging 110.83% as a company at large, the largest real estate board in the world, the Toronto Real Estate Board. So again, you know, any questions or concerns of people regarding commission or whatever, show them the graph. I mean, I'd pay an extra percent to get an extra 2 or 3 in my pocket as a consumer. No brainer. Let's see the next one. Days on market. So as I've always said, there's a direct correlation between days on market and sold versus asked. So it's not a surprise that we also sell faster than everybody else, averaging only 11.7 days. And the way I explain that to the consumer, always is this. It's a pain when it comes to selling. If you're selling in the winter, you're bundling up the kids and the dog with snowsuits and all that stuff and heading out. And in a market like this, maybe there's 40 or 50 showings for a big portion of your lives. Like, it's a real disruption. So when you can save a day or 2 or 4 days out of the process, it is significant, even though just looking at a graph before you list, it may not seem that way. So I always like to point out the actual practicality of it all and what it means to their family to save a few days in the process. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, all the Toronto Real Estate Board productivity. I don't even know if 0.1's a number, so I'm going to call that a tie. So I'm going to say we're tied for first, and in the last few years, we've ended up number 1 as being the most productive agents on the Toronto Real Estate Board on a per capita basis. In other words, our agents average more units than any other company on the Toronto Real Estate Board of the major franchises listed. And yeah, 0.1's not even a number, so we're going to move right along and consider that a tie right now, Gare. That's what we're doing. Let's take a look at new market, shall we? Sold versus asked, we're second, but it's a close second, averaging 108.54% sold versus asked. Significant numbers, as you can see, even all the way down at the bottom of the chart. I mean, things are selling on average for 6 to 9% more than people are asking. So that's an interesting stat to note. Let's take a look at the next one, please. Okay, this is actual market share. So we are still maintaining our first place position market share. It is spread out a little bit more evenly, and that could possibly be a sign of the times in terms of the market. 16.07% of all homes sold of those locally based companies sold by us. And then you can see the list going all the way down from there. So congratulations, we are still in first position in new market, a position we've had for a number of years. Let's take a look at Aurora. There's some very interesting Aurora stats this month, Gary. So this is sold versus asked, and in Aurora, we are first, averaging 110.23%. Big difference between first and last, 10 points. Actually, significant difference even between first and second and first and third. So if you're competing against a local agent in any of those companies in Aurora, show them the graph. Commission is instantly not a problem, right? I mean, someone will pay you 1 or 2% more to get 5 or 6% more. It's that simple. Let's take a look at the next one. Aurora days on market, we are second. Now, 7.6 days is amazing. It's rapid fire. And I would argue that probably you're competing against some of the other brokerages that are averaging more days on the market in Aurora than us. And that's a really good stat to show as well, for the same explanation I gave for Newmarket and Trev. See the next one? So this is interesting, and we've never seen this before. This is the market share in Aurora. And virtually 100% of the market, it's not 100%, 7.44 is excluded from this chart, but virtually 100% of the market is divided amongst 4 companies, and all having almost the same amount. So we're at 21.14% of the market. Those 4 brokerages are basically dominating the market. They're the 4 locally based companies, and you can see the numbers. It's quite impressive. Now, when we started off in Aurora, we had about 4 or 5% of the market, and we've really climbed our way to be a major contender there. And if you go to the next slide, Gary, I think you'll find this quite interesting. We outperform everybody on a per capita basis by far. So it's just that those other brokerages that have a fraction of a percent or a percent more than we do in terms of market share in Aurora, so they have more agents. So that's a very interesting stat to hold note of. So Aurora was very interesting to me when I analyzed the numbers this month. Let's see the next one, Gare. Okay, Georgina, sold versus asked. Again, very interesting. We're at 107.03%. Big range, but you can say that houses in Georgina in the first quarter have sold between 5.69% and 12% higher than their asking price. Interesting. Next slide, please, Karen. Sticking with Georgina, we're looking at market share. You can see it's kind of spread out. But what's interesting is 39.54% of the sales in Georgina, are done outside of the companies listed. So there's a lot of opportunity in Georgina is what I'm trying to get at. 40% of the market. I mean, that's more than the top 3 in that category have combined. Let's take a look at East Gwillimbury in terms of sold versus asked. Again, big range, 106.38% being the lowest of sold versus asked in all of East Gwillimbury. We're sitting at almost 112%, which is good enough for 4th spot. All the way up to 125.84. So big numbers in East Gwillimbury, averaging between 6.38 and 25% more than their asking price. Crazy. Let's take a look at the next one, Gare. This is days on market, and we are first. We're averaging 4.3 days to sell a home in East Gwillimbury, which is quite amazing. Next one, please. Bradford, West Gwillimbury. So sold versus asked. We are first in Bradford, West Gwillimbury in that category, averaging 113.83% of asking price. Again, the bottom of the chart at 105.62%, up to the top at 113.83, indicates that somewhere between 5.62 and 13.83%, if I'm generalizing, is what homes are selling for over their asking price in Bradford, West Gwillimbury. Quite interesting. Days on market, we are, let's call it tied for first at 4.3 days on market to sell a home, which is quite amazing. Very good stat.
Fantastic. The next couple of slides that we have here, Marv, are highlighting some of our top 10 agents in the area. Yeah. This is pretty amazing.
Well, I thought, you know what? I thought with the stats that we have, Gary, why don't we take a look at, let me go through the reports, and it gives you a top-down report similar to what we use. And let's see where our agents stand in some of the areas where we have offices, right? So I just wanted to get an idea of where we stand. So top 10 agents in Aurora. I think you're going to find this quite interesting, everyone. Go for it. Kirby Chan is actually the #1 agent based out of Aurora right now. I'm all brokerages, right? All brokerages. This is not our company. This is all locally based brokerages. #2 is Wasim Jara. Tied for 6th is Michael Tuff. Vincent Bongard said, Michael, you're not getting away from me. I'm going to be tied for 6th with you. And Marion Carconi's number 8. So 5 of the top 10 agents in Aurora out of all brokerages are with our company. So what that tells you, based on that stat where we saw that we have 21 point something percent of the market in Aurora, is our guys are way more productive. You've seen that, right? Outproducing the competitors by far. We just need more agents. And if I was one of those agents, or anybody else in the company for that matter, I'd be talking to my colleagues at other brokerages and show them the numbers. They're verifiable, right? They're independently done. So congratulations to all 5 of you. That is a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you did the same for Newmarket. This is pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, so let's take a look at Newmarket. I think you might find this quite interesting. All brokerages, top 10 agents. Michael Volpe is 3rd. And the only 2 entities ahead of Michael Volpe are significantly larger teams. Stuart Madden's 6th. Amazing. Michelle Terzis is 7th. Paul Ireland is 9th. And Wayne Clements is 10th. 5 of the top 10 in all of Newmarket are right out of little old Keller Willams Realty Centers.
Well, you said something really interesting there when Stuart and I were looking at these stats actually last week. And what we concluded was looking at this, the 5 names, 1 through 5 are all big teams.
Right.
So said differently, as you kind of said here, Stuart Madden is the number 1 individual agent in Newmarket at the moment. Congrats, Stuart. That is an amazing achievement. And of course, following him would be Michelle, Paul, and Wayne.
And yeah, number 2 and likely number 3 or 4, right? So that is pretty amazing stuff. And I think we're just kind of getting warmed up. It's kind of exciting, right? So yeah. Congrats to everybody.
Fantastic. And moving into Georgina as well, you might see a name reappear here, actually.
Yeah, kind of interesting. So Steve Peroff is number 4 in all of Georgina, and Volpe is not only ranked number 3 in Newmarket, but Volpe, and this is the Volpe Alcorn team, right? It's just that the stats come up with Michael's name. It's just the way they have it programmed for their team. So I don't want to take anything away from Riley and all of the members on their team, because it is a team effort. And we totally recognize that. And it's the same for the Peroff team and any other team that appears there. So certainly don't want to overlook anybody, but that's just the way it comes up, because the data is not designed to actually have team names or other lead team members like Riley Alcorn as an example, right? So look at that, 2 there as well. So congratulations to everybody. I mean, that's quite impressive.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see that the names of our peers that high on a list like this. And of course, as we celebrated earlier, the Q1 results and the year over year changes, we can see why these names are up there. So fantastic. And congratulations to all of you for sure.
Yeah. And I'll continue to do this like once a quarter or something, unless you want it more often. Like, you guys can let me know what you want, but it's a little bit more work, but it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you, I was grinning and smiling and drawing funny pictures. I can't disclose what they were the whole time, thinking, this is awesome. No wonder they call us so much to recruit away from us. We're the best.
We're the best. There you have it. Very good. Well, as always, Marv, thanks for putting all that together. And Christine, I got your note here, so I'll certainly acknowledge that in just a second. We've got something kind of cool with Wasim Jarrah here. So Wasim, I'll give you the heads up to unmute yourself. And year to year, or the last couple of years, Wasim has been working very diligently with the Toronto Real Estate Board and many other boards. Wasim, are you with us at the moment?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, fantastic. Glad to see you here. We had the opportunity, and I say we, Melissa Taylor and I had the opportunity to interview and get to know Wasim yesterday on my KWRC TV. And we got, there's certain people in our world that you just think to yourself, how the heck do they keep providing and donating and doing things with their time? But Wasim is one of those people, and we learned a lot on what he's doing within the industry, raising the bar of the industry, and of course raising the bar of KWRC. And we're excited and honored to have you in our brokerage, Wasim. I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can explain to everybody what you're doing for the next year, and we're happy to get behind you on it.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you to Marvin and Christine and yourself and the brokerage for their support last year and their ongoing support. So last year I reached out to Marvin pretty early and mentioned to him that I was running for director at large with the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. It wasn't easy. It's not easy to run director at large because of the way that it is. So you have regional directorship, and then you have director at large for all the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. I was successful. Thanks to the company and to Marvin making a lot of calls to a lot of people. So I decided that I had some free time and I might as well do it again. So I'm running again for director at large. The elections is on May the 26th. It starts on May the 26th. It runs for 24 hours online till June the 1st, till noon. And basically, I'm asking, all our colleagues here, Marvin, Christine, to reach out to, first of all, to vote. You can vote for one person or you can vote for all SIG. And for our colleagues here to reach out to any colleagues that they can reach out to share the posts that we're going to be putting out and the videos, and reaching out to our Keller Willams family. One of the challenges that I find is that you have a company, for example, like Royal LePage, that has thousands and thousands and thousands of agents, and what happens that Phil Soper usually sends them an email the morning of the election saying, here are the individuals that you're going to support, right? And then you get a lot of people that get behind that. So that's one of the things that we tend to fight against, is that trying to call a lot of our colleagues Keller Williams. We have 2 Keller Williams agents that are going to be running, myself and Katie Young, out of the Toronto office. So any support, any help that anyone can offer would be greatly appreciated. Just so you guys understand, why this role is important. PREX, the Personal Real Estate Corporations, is a file that I worked on. Stopping the municipal land transfer tax coming into York Region is a file that I worked on. Stopping the home energy rating and disclosure, which was a program that would force you to get a home energy audit for the property before it goes onto the market, and putting the score of that energy audit onto the listing is a file that we worked on with the provincial government to stop. Increasing the home buyers plan, everything that you could imagine are files that I've worked on, being on government relations since 2015. We also have Colin Campbell, who sits with us on the inclusion and diversity committee. He's a leading voice on that committee, so I'm proud of him and proud of everything that he's contributed to our committee as well. So thank you very much, Colin.
Fantastic, Wasim. It is, if you want to learn more about it, obviously reach out to Wasim, watch the interview that we did yesterday with Wasim that Melissa and I did, because I learned a lot on just some of the different things that we take for granted, but they don't get done without people like Wasim leading that. So from me publicly and all of us, Wasim, thank you for your leadership there. And you certainly have our support, and we wish you continued success in that role. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Christine, I'll hand it back to you.
Sure, thanks. So just a note from the front desk. I know that you have the ability on Broker Bay to go in and edit the availability of showing times. The front desk, that ends up messing up their system quite a bit. So if you need things like that done, please reach out to the front desk, write them a note, an email. They will institute whatever changes you want. So if you have to block off, sometimes because someone's writing an exam or whatever the instance is for your sellers, please reach out to the front desk and allow them to do that. It really does kind of mess up their system if you do that on your own. So thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christine. Very good. Well, that about brings us to the end of our monthly team meeting, and highlight a few things that we talked about. Of course, on May 19th, do get signed up for Bita, and having her in our side and educating ourselves so we can educate our clients is going to be fantastic. And using her services if you should require them. It's always best to have that pro in your corner always. And a few things that we're going to highlight on our training calendar. So, of course, Wayne Clements is leading National Ignite. There are already, actually, I just got a note while we were online here from our Canadian leadership team. There's already over 200 people registered for Ignite nationwide. So we plan to have a large contingency from KWRC within that group as well. And you're going to learn a tremendous amount there. And if you've taken it before, you know how valuable it is. But also, if you've taken it before, sometimes it's good to go take it again, because where you're at in, personally and within your business development, you're typically at a different spot, and you're going to learn different things this time around, definitely. So think about taking it for a second or third time even, and I know you're going to get a lot out of it. A couple of dates I want to highlight, of course, Red Day, May 13th. Get ready for that. You'll see lots of social media posts about that. Of course, we're here to support Wasim in his role there at Treb. And one of the highlights of the month, I know a lot of people have been tuning in for it, are Vince and Drew hacks, and that's on the 12th this month. And it's really cool because it's just like a little mastermind of what they're doing within their business to help and support their their clients to move further within the real estate industry. So there you have it. Lots of jam-packed information. I saw in the chat here that Mary Furnell already posted the stats slides. So that's already up on mykwrc.ca. And of course, the replay of the meeting here will get posted there later today. I wish everybody all the best. Stay warm, most importantly, stay safe, and continue to protect your loved ones and make this another amazing month. All the best, and we'll see everybody hopefully real soon. Bye for now.